But unfortunately, our fourth speaker, cold and flu season, was not able to make it today. So instead, what we'd like to do for this next 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes, is to give a chance to really help build and give space for that BioTAP community, right? I think BioTAP is so community based and really here to support each other as we go through this kind of work. And so, I want to encourage any conversation that wants to continue. We also have some activities that we might do here. Of course, if you'd like, you're welcome to step away and take a break early. But we're hoping to maybe bring in some more space for conversation, and where folks maybe want to share some things they have going on. Amy, I know you maybe have a few things to kick us off with if you'd like, and we can go from there.
So I just put together a few questions, some kind of fun, others maybe will help guide us back to some questions, discussion questions. So if you're able to join us on this menti.com, you can use that code. I put the link in the chat, and here's a QR code. We'll see how this works. We just kind of threw this together. So the first very serious question, of course.
Amy, could you repost the link in the
Sure
chat,
can.
please?
I thought I hit it. This is like with my text messages. I text and text and text and forget to send. All right, I'll move on to another question. It looks like Maryland and South Carolina win. Okay. Just out of curiosity, how many GTAs are in your department?
I would like to ask, what is woo clap? I've never heard of that.
It's basically just like pull everywhere or top hat. Our institution keeps changing which one we're using, but it's pretty much the same thing.
Got it. They're just picking the ones with the fun names.
Yeah.
The next one. And feel free, you can open up your mic and talk. You don't have to respond if this is a question you want to use to talk about.
AI has produced a really vast nest for lab report writing, especially training TAs how to handle that.
I think I have one last question, and it's really just open-ended. If you have any questions or topic you want to discuss with the groups. If not, we have 10 minutes before our break, and then our break continues until 2:55. So everybody who just, wants to have a spontaneous discussion, great. Or you can take a break until our next session will begin at 2:55.
I'm seeing a question come in here, maybe to open up to the group. How much TA training collaboration outside of biology do you do? Are folks mostly working cross campus or within the department or a little bit of both? Or within STEM, I heard there's some kind of cross STEM training going on. Yeah.
So I teach, in addition to teaching biology TAs once a week, we have a program for that. I teach a course for the graduate school that's TAs from all across campus. That's the capstone of our graduate certificate in college and university teaching. And it's really fun because I have found the students themselves talk about this a lot too. And it's been my experience. The cross-disciplinary interactions are awesome. It's so cool to hear, and myself as a biologist, to hear and learn from people in other disciplines, how they think about some of these similar challenges differently, how they have different challenges. Um, and yeah, it's been really that cross-disciplinary thing has been really beneficial in that context. And that said, I can't remember, I think it might have been Christine who talked about loving the biology discipline specificity. And I also find that to be true. So it's really been a cool model to have the in-house biology training where we can use biology examples, talk about stuff that's really relevant to our discipline and how it's going to show up in their courses. and then also have that option for graduate students to go on to get more training and more cross-disciplinary training as well, which you can also pursue on a smaller scale at like the Center for Teaching and Learning. So anyways, long answer to say, I really enjoy that cross-disciplinary aspect of the TPD that I do get to do.
I feel like you bring up a really interesting and cool point that I don't currently do TA training at the moment, but in my last institution, they had kind of general TA training and then departmental specific type. And I think there's been a lot of conversation I've had with folks over the years about like, can you have a little bit of both? What's the best way to go? Is it all the same departmental? Because there is some benefit I've seen also of hearing from other disciplines and how you approach, but at the same time, giving that very specific instruction and examples, I think is really important. And so I think you bring up a really interesting idea and point, and I'm curious if anyone have thoughts on that. Um, is there a combination that can be done? Is there one better than the other? Yeah, I don't know.
I'm wondering, this is a fascinating question. I think I'm wondering in the sense of if you look at the K-12 literature, right, in terms of effective professional development of teachers, one of the key components is being disciplinarily embedded, right, to develop teachers. Um, but you might imagine that those interdisciplinary collaborations that Adam was talking about have different values and different outcomes that are maybe not directly tied to teaching in the discipline, but have value added beyond that. And so I'd just be interested, like, what are the outcomes? What are the things that you can actually achieve when you have this interdisciplinary conversations that go beyond the classroom, probably?
Am I hearing a new research project maybe being proposed for the group?
And it seems like often a lot of the TA's only interaction in a teaching or a professional development context across disciplines in a formal sense is with, brief one-time orientations, the whole university TA orientation, for example, that are often really policy focused and very limited in scope. And so their experience with it might be very different in that context, as opposed to, oh, I've had an opportunity to come together with my fellow biology TAs, for example, and then I'm building beyond that and getting into more interesting, more advanced conversations with TAs and getting into more of that nuance where the interdisciplinarity is so interesting. So maybe they, yeah, feel it's those opportunities are lacking in a lot of cases.
Yeah, we're doing this across campus with faculty now. Just trying to collaborate on how to reach these large courses of undergraduates transitioning from high school to college life. So faculty need it just as much as TAs. And as Grant was talking about, it's more of the intangibles as opposed to the research-based or evidence-based practices that come across. So yeah, that I really dig that for faculty and TAs. Very valuable in and of itself.
I can imagine there's a lot of common themes that they all find when they get together, regardless of the discipline, while you have different subject matter, and still the same challenges with managing, cheating. How do they handle cheating with students, phones out, and dealing with, all of that kind of those integrity issues. And it's really funny to hear the chatter in the hall. My office is across from the copy room, so the GAs will end up there, and it's really cute to hear them interact. I can't believe I had this student, and it's like they're shocked that people would act like this and behave like this. So I can imagine when they get together with others that there is a lot of that crossover and finding that common ground of frustrations that all teachers have, everyone who deals with people, that's a neat opportunity.
It's the power of that community, both inside your department and outside. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a few minutes before a break. What do you think, Katie? We'll go ahead and start break a little early, and we'll convene again at 2:55 with our next speaker.
Sounds
You
great.
guys.
And if folks want to stick around and continue chatting and asking questions, I mean, that of course is also okay. I know I personally need to buy a break, so yeah, we'll see you all soon. And thank you to our first group of speakers. So it was really amazing and wonderful. So thank you so much for all the great talk and conversation that you sparked with everybody. It was really cool hearing all of this new stuff going on. Oh, I also wanted to point into the chat. Christina shared the PowerPoint and the table that she mentioned in her talk. And so feel free to check those out if you're interested.